Hello there YouTube, it's Gojira Prime with another Transformers video review, and today we're taking a look at Transformers Titans Returns Galvatron. Now I decided to finally do the review of this figure because this week we've had some teaser images of the replacement for this figure, or it's going to be the replacement for many people including myself, the new Kingdom Galvatron figure. Now, so far, we've only seen that figure in its artillery mode, but it looks really, really good, and I'll be getting my pre-order in for that one as soon as possible. But I decided today to go and do its, this figure, the Titans Returns Galvatron figure, which has some pros and some cons. One of the pros is, first of all, this artillery piece mode. Now, this is one of two vehicle modes for the figure. It has this mode, and it also has a spaceship fighter mode. Now, I'm not a fan of that particular spaceship fighter mode. I'm not going to go over it in this video, but if you do want to see what it does look like in this video, for this figure, please go and check out my Super Megatron review, where I do compare the spaceship mode of this figure to the spaceship mode of the Super Megatron figure. So yeah, artillery mode for this Galvatron figure is really, really nice. Now, I didn't have the original Galvatron figure as a kid growing up, so I can't do a comparison against that. But from what I've seen of pictures online, and obviously watching the G1 Season 3 and the movie God knows how many times, this is a very nice modern interpretation of the Galvatron artillery piece mode for that figure. We've got some very nice shade of purple, a couple of different shades I think of purple throughout the entire figure. This nice grey and black and red on the what will be the feet later on. And then we've also got this very nice, if I detach this for a second, on the cannon mode, you have this very nice molded detailing as well on this translucent orange plastic, which is very, very nice and just adds a bit more detail to the figure. Now, unfortunately, in cannon mode, or sorry, artillery piece mode, he doesn't come with any gimmick per se. He doesn't have any firing missiles or lights and sounds, but that's okay. That's not really a major bust for me. I really do like it as a cannon figure. Cannon mode, I should say, really. You've got the nice Decepticon logo here on the front. I just do wish they had done the treads in black. Obviously, they're just molded in purple plastic to look like tank treads, but it would have been nice if they'd been done in black just to make it stand out a little bit more from the rest of the figure. This section here is the cockpit for the fighter mode, and you can store the Titan figure in there when it's in cannon or artillery mode as well. But yeah, it's got some nice molded details. It does roll to a certain extent, or slide, as the case may be. But yeah, all in all, a very nice artillery mode. I really do like it. It is my favorite alternate mode for the figure. I don't tend to... There we go. I don't tend to display it in jet mode. I just tend to display it in its artillery piece mode when I do have it in vehicle mode. So what I'll do now is I'll just pause the video, and then we'll do a look at its robot mode and some comparisons. Okay, so now we have Galvatron partially assembled into his robot mode. I'm just going to run through the three components for the robot mode, and then I'll get them assembled and I'll run through the gimmick for the figure as well. So the first component really is the cannon. We've already seen this in vehicle mode. You do have to just extend it out a little bit and unfold it so it will then clip onto his arm. All in all, very nice cannon mode. Really like the orange translucent plastic at the end, and it's got some nice molded details on the rest of the cannon section as well. And I think you can actually store the Titan Master in that section there too, actually, I think. But yeah, very nice. Then we move on to his Titan figure. Now, I think the name for this particular Titan Master is Nucleon. I might be wrong about that, but I do find it quite amusing that the Nucleon who does form the Titan Master or the Headmaster for Galvatron looks a lot like Megatron. With that head sculpt, that's Megatron. It's quite funny, really. You know, not surprising, but, you know, it is quite funny. It's got a little bit of articulation in the arms. Not a great amount. Mine are quite stiff, actually, because it's rarely ever used. But, yeah. And then what you do is to transform him, you just fold him over like so. And then you have Galvatron's head. I quite like the face sculpt on this. It's got some very nice painted red eyes on there. A very stern expression. Kind of looks like he's wearing a mini crown or something on here as well, which is quite nice. But yeah, that's the head. It's quite nice, actually. Very nice head sculpt. The robot mode, or the body mode anyway, I should say, I really do quite like. It's a very nice interpretation of G1 Galvatron's body. You've got the shoulder pads here, Decepticon logo, chest section here with the red on it here, which is like he was in the original G1 cartoon. I like the shade of purple, shades of grey, the shades of black. You've got this red sections here on his knee pads. There's very little in the way of kibble for the figure. You know, the treads do form the back pieces of the arms. And again, like I say, I just wish they'd painted them black just to give them a bit more detail and just to make it stand out a bit more. But yeah, all in all, very, very nice robot mode. Very, very nice molded detail. But now we have to come on to, obviously, the issues with the figure. And the issues are to do with the gimmick for the Headmaster. Now, if I just raise my camera, and I'll just bring this forward a bit more. So, you have your Headmaster. I know it's called a Titan Master, but I prefer to call them Headmasters. And what you do is you plug him in to the top here, in this port, like so. Now, the gimmick for this figure is that when you open his chest up, you get a mask that comes up and goes over the figure's face. Now, the mask I am not a fan of. I don't think it's particularly good. It looks like, G1 or, a modern interpretation of Galvatron's helmet. But the problem is, it only just covers his face at the front. It doesn't cover the back, or the sides, or the top. And when you do have this on, you can't move the head in any meaningful way, shape, or form. So it's completely static looking. Now, I'm not the only one who doesn't particularly like this gimmick. There are plenty of other people who don't like this particular gimmick as well. I'm not bothered about Galvatron being a Titan Master. That's not a problem for me because it's the only way you could get a Galvatron figure. But the gimmick for the head is not very good in my opinion. Now, luckily, third-party companies have stepped in and produced for us a few different options, which include helmets. I got mine off Shapeways a few years ago, and it came, I think, in a shade of grey originally. And then what I did is I just bought a purple art pen, the closest I could find to this particular shade of purple in the art shop at the time, and then just completely colored it in. Now, granted, it is a far lighter shade of purple than the actual figure. I kept meaning to go and get a different color purple, but never got around to it for whatever reason, and then obviously COVID happened and various lockdowns. Now, the helmet itself is not perfect in any way, shape, or form, but it's a very nice looking helmet. It does have a hole at the back for where you do have to slot in the Titan Master or Headmaster. But, the fact that, a lot of third-party companies have stepped in and produced these does help, to say the least. Now, what I'll do is I'll just reopen the chest, put away that, it'll go back in, put away the mask gimmick, and just pop the helmet on there like so. And there you have Galvatron with his helmet. And to me, all right, it's not perfect. It's not 100%, but it is a considerably much better option than what we actually got with the toy itself. I mean, if I was a bit more artsy, I'd probably do some red at the top here and add in some more painted details, but I'm not a very artsy person at the end of the day, so I haven't done that. But, you know, the helmet covers the sides, it covers the top. It doesn't cover the back because obviously of the size of the Titan Master and its legs when it's folded up. But it's a much better alternative, I feel at the very least, than what we were given with the figure. Again, it's a lighter shade of purple because that's the closest I could get at the time. And I've never had a chance really to get back down to the art shop and get a replacement color. The other main issue with the figure is to do with the cannon. Now, the cannon itself plugs into these two ports here. You can either have it on the left arm or the right arm. The problem is it's right above the moving mechanism for the arm. So when you plug it in, you have to completely straighten the arm more or less, and then it will go in there. Now, this looks okay in a static position, but you then lose all the articulation in the arm, aside from at the shoulder, where you can, you know, just have him in that firing position. That is a bit of a problem as well. Now, again, the people who make this helmet also did make a extender, so you can have the cannon further up away from the arm so you don't lose any articulation. I'm just going to take that off for a minute. Now, articulation-wise, should I say, sorry, the figure is pretty good. The arms do move at the shoulder, forwards and backwards. You do have movement at the elbow. The hands are completely static. Leg articulation, forward, back, at the knee. You know, everything we would expect a modern-day Transformers figure to have. My knee joints on my figure do seem to be a little loose. They do seem to move about quite a bit. But, you know, it's not too detrimental at the end of the day. So, as a comparison for the figure, there we go. So, as a comparison for the figure, just to show you how he scales up with others, here he is next to Transformers Universe Scourge. So he is quite a bit bigger than Scourge. This is a Voyager class, sorry, at the end of the day. I forgot to mention that this is a Voyager class figure, so this is a deluxe figure. So these two kind of scale up quite nicely, and I think they look quite good next to each other as well. Here he is next to Transformers Kingdom Cyclonus. And I'll just throw in Scourge there for a second as well, just so you can see how well they scale. I quite like the scaling of these three together. Obviously, Galvatron from the Kingdom line is going to be bigger because he is a leader class figure, but I'm quite happy with this scaling for the three characters. I think in the original G1 artwork, Cyclonus was meant to be even bigger than Galvatron because he served as Galvatron's personal transport vessel, and Scourge was the smallest of the three. So yeah, those three look really, really nice together. And then here he is next to his nemesis in the show, Rodimus Prime. This is the Power of the Primes Rodimus figure, which I did a review of a couple of weeks ago. Again, I think this is a good scaling for these two. Obviously, Galvatron is going to be bigger in the Kingdom line because he's going to be a leader class figure. So how much bigger he's going to be, I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. Hopefully, he's not going to be too big, but still. So again, quite like the scale of those two. And then finally, here he is next to his Transformers selects Megatron remold. And I did this figure, a few weeks back ago as well. And the difference between these two guys is like chalk and cheese. This one is much tighter, better molding, better paint, doesn't have this ridiculous gimmick. It's amazing to me still that, this started off as this, and it's a vastly superior figure in many, many ways. But yeah, that's the scaling between those two there. So is Transformers Titans Returns Galvatron still worth getting? The short answer is no. If you don't have a Galvatron figure in your collection, then obviously with the new Kingdom Galvatron coming out, that is the figure you are one to probably going to get. Although we've not seen much of the figure as of yet, we've only seen the cannon mode so far. But I imagine that is going to be a much bigger, much better figure than this figure is. Don't get me wrong, this figure is good, it's okay, but the head gimmick is awful. We shouldn't really have had to have bought a third-party helmet to make up for it at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, if you've not got a Galvatron in your figure, wait a couple more months, get the Kingdom version when it comes out, because I imagine that's probably going to be a much better figure than this. This is still a good figure, don't get me wrong, but the head gimmick is awful. I don't like it. And I don't think, with the fact that we are getting a leader class Galvatron coming out fairly soon, you'll be wanting to get just a Voyager class figure. So that's my quick review and my thoughts on Titans Returns Galvatron. I hope you've liked the video. Please hit the like button, please subscribe, comment below, and thank you very much.